Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 30th of August. My name is Ashwin Meri, and this is NMH at 1. Stay tuned as we give you an overview of all the news making headlines from across the country, including the front and inside pages of all the Monday editions and national newspapers. Paralympic sprinter Ananias Chikongo's silver medal in Tokyo is one of the themes of the front page photo selections today. Right now, we'll get straight into your COVID-19 update. In our roundup of COVID-19 data today, Namibia is approaching 650,000 individual tests done since the first local cases were detected in March last year. Over the 7 days up to Friday, another 10,421 swabs were processed. The daily average for new tests remains at 1,500. 10% of tests yield positive results. On average, 162 new cases are now reported daily. Active cases dropped to below 2,000, with the overall recovery rate remaining at 95%. 30 fatalities were announced over the last 7-day cycle at an average of 4 deaths per day. By Friday, close to 211,000 people received a first dose of vaccine against the virus, and second vaccinations numbered 111,000. Less than 1 in every 10 people, 8.4% of the population, have received a first vaccination. Second vaccinations continue to outnumber first jabs. During the last 7-day cycle, first vaccinations totaled 10,720 compared to more than 15,000 follow-up jabs. The number of people accommodated in official quarantine facilities were about 100 more on Friday compared to a week before. Regions bordering on neighboring countries make up the bulk of new entries into quarantine. Over the last 7-day cycle, 2,231 people entered quarantine, while 2,071 individuals were discharged over the same period. More than 74,000 people have spent time in quarantine since the start of the pandemic. Now, in the first of our contributed videos, the bereaved family of a baby have laid a case against the Ministry of Health for the misplacement of her remains. Beauty Makena was stillborn at the Swakopmund State Hospital earlier this month. 2 days later, the family visited the hospital to claim her remains for burial, but her body was nowhere to be found. The ministry says it is also conducting an internal investigation. Irene Marie van der Walt spoke to them.
I was responsible with the baby's corpse, because it should be very easy to follow up, to know who was responsible. So we want a transparent investigation. Yeah, justice has to be served in this case. Thank you.
So maybe I can also speak.
Oh, sorry.
Well, good morning, Namibia. This is a very shocking matter, and as a family we are here to report this case, as the rest of the family members have clearly stated. So this matter, it needs to be investigated and to inform the nation what really happened, because such a matter cannot consistently happening, and there is no clear information of what is going on. Today it might be us, tomorrow it is the nation. So we need to know. Thank you.
Actually, I'm the father of the baby, but I can't take many things because my heart is broken. Right now, me and my girlfriend, we are not sleeping. just think about our baby. So it's something very shocked to us. Never happened in my life. This is the first time. So what I want, this investigation must not take long, because it's something which it must be shortened, because it's easy to get the culprit. Once they are following their registers, it will directly who did that. So it's not something which must take a month to get the feedback.
Now, the governor of the Omusati region, Erginas Njala, handed over sanitary pads to various school principals in the Ruakana constituencies last week to combat the high number of girls who miss school when they menstruate. He said it is a subject close to his heart and all schools should put in effort in accommodating all learners. Tunohola Mungobe was there.
Ustiario ndati okanona okakazo no Namibia kerimo skora ha eshe havuru okukara nge eshito talitana yakare eri metundi opena mbono ihavuru kukara metundi unesto litana uri maskusi watano chitakaza hono ashibulika aze yakwa mesho yomlongi okushina monima moroka anakamwe askashika roshidi o teapo neno programa njono opo uno na wetu mbono tu kwa eskolika dise mushikacho horo jetu ndakwata sana ne principal okana keshetate omaruwa panje okero ka keno mauya limbo ili pa ko iko tani tangu neno.
Ya, aye, o chibwana chiholike
Now, the Kitwenswop Secondary School garden was established to teach the learners basic agricultural skills as well as supply the school's soup kitchen with needed vegetables. Elizabeth Joseph was there.
The Kitwanswop Secondary School Garden project started 3 years ago and has since exceeded all expectations. Initially, the aim was to develop an on-site vegetable garden where teachers could teach basic agriculture to their students. This includes the basics of growing food and using the garden as an outdoor laboratory. Teacher and overseer Janine Diergaard says that the school aimed to use the produce from the garden to aid their soup kitchen. By providing the soup kitchen with the necessary vegetables, the children directly benefit from their labor, and through this initiative, our overseas also benefit in the process, she said. According to Diergaard, COVID-19 has been the biggest reason why the school felt the need to invest so much in the garden. With the current COVID-19 pandemic and the impact it has on society, we have even more reason to invest in this project, she said.
It's time to have a look at the front pages of today's dailies. We start off with the Namibian Sun. The Namibian Sun leads with arguments between SWAPO and rival politicians during the state memorial service of former youth minister Kazenambo at a farm in Okapuka, north of Windhoek last Friday. Kazenambo had been an outspoken critic of the government's acceptance of an 18 billion Namibian dollar genocide reparation deal with Germany, which became a central topic of discussion at the memorial. Allgemeine Zeitung reports on the strategic partnership through which the mining giant De Beers and National Geographic magazine launched the Eternal Okavango initiative. The Eternal Okavango partnership aims to address one of the most critical nature conservation challenges in Africa, protecting the spring waters of the Okavango Delta and the living conditions they support. The 5-year agreement is intended to help protect Africa's threatened species, ensure water and food security for more than 1 million people, and create a livelihood for 10,000 people. The Okavango River Delta is one of the most important ecosystems in Africa, unrivaled in its biodiversity, which includes hundreds of bird species. Republican reports that Namibians face a sharp hike in fuel prices this Wednesday, when prices at the petrol pump are set to exceed 14 Namibian dollars per litre for the first time in 20 years. The price increased by 60 cents per litre, which sets the price of a litre of petrol at the cost of 14.15 Namibian dollars, the Ministry of Mines and Energy announced. The weakening of the Namibian currency against the US dollar is the main driving force behind the ministry's announcement. The Namibian front page examines the disturbing statistics of suicides by teenagers since the beginning of the year, as released by the Namibian police. According to their figures, 11 children between the ages of 10 and 17 have taken their lives since January this year. Deputy Commissioner Kauna Shikwambi pointed out that the COVID-19 pandemic has contributed to anxiety, fear, stress, and victimization. She, however, encouraged young people to practice emotional intelligence, self-care, and to ask for support. New Era follows the story of Kudumo Hausiku, a 20-year-old science teacher at Omatako at Tumkwe constituency, who overcame a number of challenges to complete a diploma in education in order to now teach at a primary school. However, the University of Namibia has apparently not received the payment of 54,000 Namibian dollars for his tuition fees, which was supposed to come from a program to uplift marginalized students. Since UNAM will not release his diploma without the payment, Hausiku faces losing his work contract and the school will be forced to advertise his position. Let's have a look at what is on the inside of today's papers. The Namibian Sun looks into the shrinkage of the country's economy by 8% during the last financial year, which was by far the worst performance since independence 3 decades ago. According to a Bloomberg report, Namibia's current unemployment rate of 33.4% is the second worst globally, exceeded only by South Africa at 34.4%. Lockdowns imposed during waves of COVID-19 infections have weighed especially heavily on economic activities. According to Allgemeine Zeitung, 4 new satellite GPS telemetry devices were recently installed on giraffes in Etosha National Park and the Erivipuka Communal Conservancy. The aim is to gain a better understanding of the animals' movements, food intake, and reaction to human interference in order to be able to contribute to the global protection of the giraffe. The action was carried out by the Biodiversity Research Center at NAS in cooperation with the Ministry of Environment, the Giraffe Conservation Foundation, and UNAM School of Veterinary Medicine. Republican has the story of Health Minister Kalumbi Shangula confirming that COVID-19 patients will from now on be allowed one visit of maximum 30 minutes per week by a family member. According to the minister, the country's intensive care units at hospitals are not as overcrowded as they have been during the peak of the third wave infections. The sprinter Ananias Shikongo is honored across all the national newspapers today following his silver medal performance at the 400 meters at the 2020 Paralympic Games in Tokyo. The 35-year-old visually impaired runner lost the sight in both his eyes through separate accidents during his youth. Shikongo will also compete at 100 meters heats and semifinals on Wednesday. New Era reports on an interview with National Police Chief Sebastian Ndetunga, who encouraged police officers to always act in a professional manner when enforcing law and order. Residents in northern Namibia have complained about the perceived heavy-handedness of police officers. Last week, a case of assault was opened at Enana after a pregnant woman was allegedly slapped by officers for not wearing a mask while she was walking home from work. And finally, in the Namibian, the Minister of Public Enterprises, Leon Schuster, has defended the government's decision to pay 1.6 billion Namibian dollars to an American company that leased aircraft to Air Namibia. The national airline's liquidation meant the government had to pay a termination fee for opting out of the contract 4 years earlier. Schuster said the negotiations were an intense and complicated process that went non-stop for 10 exhausting months. He added that the negotiated settlement is less than the government initially planned planned to spend, and thus saved up to 667 million Namibian dollars. Well, that's it for today. My name is Ashwin Bedi. Make sure you continue to catch NMH at 1 at the same time with the ever so capable Priska Anyolo. Next up, your weather.